When I see Errol, I call him Antonio sometimes.
Chairs or benches. The space behind the captain should be kept free of any objects. And whatever you do, please keep your arms and head inside the boat at all times. Some of the bridges are very low, and they come up suddenly.
In the case of an emergency, take a moment to note where the emergency exits are. There are two at the front of the boat, one to the left and one to the right, and another through the hatch door in the roof. This boat is equipped with life-saving equipment, and if an emergency situation arises, the captain will distribute them and give you instructions. Remember, this is a non-smoking cruise.
When you exit the boat, please check and double-check that you have all your belongings with you. Any questions? Your captain is here to assist you. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the cruise.
Welcome to Amsterdam, capital city. What better way to experience this compact and very international city than from the unique perspective of its waterways? There certainly are a lot of them. This city has over 100 kilometers of canal. Amsterdam is known for being friendly, open-minded, and progressive. It's a popular place to visit and do business. Just think, in a population of only 8.
That's 45 feet into the ground. But if these piles were exposed to the air, they began to rot, and the buildings they supported sank and shifted. Today, water levels in and around the city are carefully controlled to minimize rotting. When new piles are needed, they're made of concrete. Still, you will see many a house with a sideways tilt.
The Montalban was a place where sailors gathered before setting out to sea. The journeys were long and difficult, and not everyone returned. Legend has it that the women who loved them also came here to say goodbye, perhaps forever.
We're about to pass through one of the city's old locks. The small, tippy black building was once the lockmaster's house. It's now a pub and cafe full of 17th century charm, stone floors, wooden benches, and exposed ceiling beams. Its outdoor patio is a great place for watching boats on the canal.
It was called Vloeienberg, for flooding island. Over time, the name morphed into Vlooienberg, for Flea Island, and the bustling market held here was called the Flea Market.
For centuries, Jewish traders sold their wares here. The market continues to operate and is now known as the largest flea market in the Netherlands.
Over the centuries, many famous influential painters have hailed from the Netherlands, including Johannes Vermeer, Hieronymus Bosch, Frans Hals, and Piet Mondrian.
One of the greatest Dutch artists of all time is Rembrandt van Rijn, a resident of Amsterdam during the Golden Age. His ability to capture people's emotions and his use of light and dark contrasts catapulted him to fame. Many of his paintings and prints, including the remarkable Nachtwacht, or the Night Watch painting, can be viewed at the Rijksmuseum.
Though unknown and poor for most of his 19th century life,
Many consider Rembrandt to be Amsterdam's greatest artist of the Golden Age. He's known for his unique style, with loose brushstrokes and dramatic compositions that emphasized contrasts between light and dark. For a time, he enjoyed great acclaim, especially for his portraits. During the height of his popularity, he lived on Joden Breestraat as a well-respected gentleman, in a house that is now the Rembrandt House. At the peak of the Golden Age, Rembrandt painted what has become one of We affectionately refer to them as the dancing houses because they look like they're tilting and swaying to some happy tune. These buildings get their crazy tilts from the wooden piles that are supposed to be holding them up. The more the piles rock, the wilder the houses dance. The outward lean that you see on so many buildings is another story. It has nothing to do with rotting piles. The facades, or the faces of buildings, were intentionally built this way. In fact, a 16th century law put limits on how far a building could lean forward, lest it topple down.
Here. You see the symbol with the three white crosses? This is the symbol of Amsterdam. The three crosses are for the three disasters that hit Amsterdam, the plague in the 15th century, a lot of overflowing water, of course, and they had some big fires. The 15th.
Cold carriage, mention it, an unpleasant waft of sewage coming from the canal.
Building restrictions limited houses to a
16th century, but it's beautiful because of the style. Also take a look, mountain bricks, left side, mountain red bricks.
Locks and dams further out have closed Amsterdam's harbor off from the North Sea. And city residents don't have to worry about tides. Instead, the locks are used to flush water through the canals, keeping them clean. Amsterdam replaces the gate every 50 years or so. If you look closely, you might find the date these gates were last replaced. It's recorded on the gates themselves.
Big.
I thought.